Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. Pushing on through until the battle's won. No one's gonna give nothing to us. Into each other we put our trust. Standing united after the fight is done.
What is going on, people? It is the Ninja Reviewer here. Sorry this took a little bit longer than usual. I had a very important video to actually make, or in this case, that pretty much my overall thoughts and rant on this certain individual that's been going on. It's been a crazy weekend for the Brony community, so if you want to check out that video, I warn you right now, it's not monetized, but either way, you can still check it out. It should be uploaded by now, so you guys can definitely check that out. But regardless, of this review isn't going to be too long, because only one major thing happens this episode, then there's another thing, and that's really it. So anyways, let's dive right in to the one and only One Piece. Whoa, Monkey D. Luffy, episode 823. Now, this episode right here, okay, wow, this episode was not only funny, but just insane as well, due to the crazy big bitch and her overly obsessed, pretty much her over-obsessed daydreaming, pretty much. This, while she's like asleep and dreaming, she's still a massive threat, even when she's sleeping, and that's pretty insane. So, with this episode of mine, it really does get to show a true terror and wild nature of a Yonko, even when they're asleep. So, with this episode going on right here, it turns out that Chopper and the gang finally found Sanji, and they have to come up with a plan in order to actually rescue Brook as well. That Brook has pretty much been captured by Big Mom, and is now actually in the depths of sleeping with Big Mom. And I know that sounds pretty sexual and kinky, but not with somebody like this. Yeah, that's not really likely. But anyways, though, what really happens in this episode is that they have to find out exactly which method they have to use in order to actually save Brook. So the first volunteer is Chopper, and I felt really so bad for him because it was really so close, and all of a sudden something just had to happen where there was like a fly that entered into the room, and Big Mom's, I think it was Prometheus and Zeus, they were there, and they were basically just blasting like, oh, there's a fly in here, like, oh, Mama's trying to sleep and shit like that. And I felt bad for poor Chopper, like, he really couldn't do it. He got scared afterwards, poor thing. So that didn't really work. Second, they had to actually use Carrot in order to, now this, when I read this in the manga, this was actually pretty entertaining, but they didn't really do it to this extent, because I know in the anime they sort of paced it out where they kind of dragged out the whole challenge things. Like, they did drag it out in the anime for quite a good while, which I do admit was a bit dragged out for like a bit of while, but regardless though, it was still very entertaining. The second one that we had was with Carrot. While she was actually pretty close as well, it turns out that she actually had to play stupid like a stuffed animal because she almost got caught, and then poor Carrot pretty much failed. Third time around we had Nami, and yeah, so third time around we had Nami, and basically Nami, well, she kind of sort of got it, but it just wasn't really enough, because then, yeah, like, the challenges itself were just actually pretty funny. Like, overall, like, I just really liked all of them, especially Pedro when he's daydreaming about like all like the awesome praise he's gonna get like after he like saves Brook and stuff. And they have to actually replace Brook with this replica, by the way, so that way Big Mom won't really notice. So it was a pretty entertaining, funny episode when it comes to that, though. I pretty much laughed. It was actually pretty cute as well. So actually a really funny like time there, especially Big Mom going all crazy while she's asleep. Even when she's asleep, she's still just as insane as ever. So we got that. And the second thing that actually really happened in this episode was the fact that Luffy is almost just about there to reach the spot where Sanji is, but then Cadenza's brother actually makes it to the fray, which is kind of shocking, because I don't know what happened to, I'm trying to remember, did Luffy, no, he didn't, no, because I remember both him and his brother were there to knock him the fuck out, and then after that is when, you know, they separate, and then of course then now Luffy's fighting the brother, and he's having a bit of a struggle, obviously, because while he still has a bit of his haki left, you can tell that he is absolutely struggling due to the fact of his hunger, and Sanji pretty much on his way to actually meet up with his captain again. But then there's like this dog. There's one scene where a dog pretty much tries to get the food, but unfortunately, you know, doesn't, you know, he just basically tries to calm it down, saying, look, I gotta get this to Luffy. It's very important. He needs this right now because of the hunger strike. It's all my fault. Meanwhile, we have Bobbin in the background, and pretty much he's trying to go after Sanji, and using his for the abilities of the hypnosis, puts pretty much motherfuckers to sleep, and he's able to actually see if he can actually try to catch up to Sanji and them. So we got that going on this episode as well, and yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the episode, and you can tell the struggles of Luffy are completely real with his hunger. And yeah, sadly, that's really all I gotta say about this episode. Well, it was actually pretty entertaining. Some of the challenges were actually pretty funny, and I will admit my problem with this episode is that they kind of dragged out the pacing a bit longer than expected when it comes to this episode, and really that's the only thing we kind of focused on within this episode, because at the beginning all it was just them finally going in with the mirror world, like Broly, with the train dude, I forget his name, like tied up, because they finally found, well, at the beginning all they did was just basically ask the mirrors where the location is, and Broly still trying to, you know, be a sneaky little bitch and be like, no, I'm not gonna really, you know, try to help you out. It's like, hell no, Big Mom's sleeping, good, let's wake her the fuck up so she can take care of them. But then of course that doesn't really suit well when they get tied up, which is funny. But yeah, overall that's pretty much it for this episode. But if I were to give it a score, I would probably give it a 4 out of 5. It was a very entertaining, funny episode. A very good episode, a very funny, entertaining episode. Again, I wasn't a big fan of what they did to the pacing. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Like, the pacing I wasn't a big fan of. And yeah, I just wish there was just more to this episode than just that. So overall, just a 4 out of 5 this week. A very good, solid, funny episode overall. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below of this episode of One Piece, episode 823. And I will see you guys this Saturday, actually, for episode 824. And for the manga folks, I'll see you this week for the latest chapter, live reaction / review. Don't forget, rate, comment, and subscribe. Click on the bell to get those notifications, boys. Follow my social media plugins and my gamer tags as well. Peace, soul, love, chicken grease, and the sky is the limit. God and Aru, ha ha ha, is the limit. And my manga fans, keep supporting Rich Video What You Watch, and that's it. See you guys during this weekend. Bye bye.